Dear President, thank you very much for invitation and the possibility to present here some words. For those who do not know me, I'm a physics and physics education professor in Germany, University of Education of Heidelberg. And I was co-authoring the study of 2015 about science education for responsible citizenship. So that's why I think I got an email and have been asked to be part of the conference. I was very curious what's going on in the field here. And I tried to focus my talk a little bit on the scope of this conference here. Reflections on the scope of science centers. You are on the way to install international science centers. How is it linked to that science education for responsible citizenship? I also will start with this picture here. You all know this picture and you know this Sustainable Development Goals. And all the world is looking at number 4 if we speak about science education, but you have other numbers too. You have 3, for example, good health and well-being, 5, gender equality, 11, sustainable communities, cities and communities, partnership for all the goals, and so on, life below water, climate action. That means we have a lot of problems to be solved in the future, and for all these goals to be reached, we need education. So I'm in line with my speakers before, Christian Lau, and also with Swain Sjoberg and with Pierre Lénard. We need another view, another perspective of science on science education. What we read always, the world becomes more interconnected. It's high time to promote smart and sustainable and inclusive growth. Science education requires a profound improvement. Science is often inadequately taught in schools, since it does not really take into account the interest of pupils nor meet the requirements of the society. Science in schools is boring and too abstract. But these days, you know, today is the day of the Nobel Prizes in physics and chemistry. Do we have bad science education? Really? What is the problem? I think we have another problem. We have to do 2 things. We have to prepare the students to do studies in science, and these are only 5% of all the students, and we have 95% of students who have to understand the world, to act in the world, to be citizens in the world, and to know a little bit about the world. And my point is, we need more than only school education on a high level, whatever that means. I think formal, non-formal, and informal settings for science education are to be expanded and developed appropriately, and their potential has to be discovered and used more effectively. That means not only the schools and the science educators are responsible for science education, we all are responsible for that. Science education for responsible citizenship is an essential and challenging task, and a job not only for schools and university. All citizens are in charge of it. And here are we on that point. The challenge is to realize an appropriate and well-balanced spectrum together. And I am very happy that we have this network of academies of science who think about to add something to science education in the world and to offer opportunities. And that is a great, great situation, and we can use that. Science centers enjoy an outstanding position. If you look at them, they can complement school science. We have the task to fulfill the curriculum at school. And if you think about physics, 2 hours of physics a week in Germany is not that much. And the poor children, the poor students have to understand all physics, phenomena, procedures, results, concepts at the end of their school life. That's too much. So we can complement work in this field through the work of science centers. They can offer teachers additional space for education. They can offer students more and deeper information. They can offer students advanced fields of experience, interaction, investigation, inquiry, more than schools can do it with their small resources. They can offer visitors deeper insights into actual themes and problems and new perspectives. They are independent of time requirements. So, the advantage of science centers is the freedom of choice in themes, methods, communication, and interconnection. And you are here to think about how to use this advantage. So from my point of view, what are their possibilities? How can they be enriched by competence and authentic science challenges? So, and I want to pose a question to AEMASE or to Sesame. What are the most important sustainable development goals for your region? So, and I take the line of Svein Sjoberg, it is not international on a general level what we are doing. We need to see the life of the students, the kids of ourselves in the world. And we are surrounded of problems out of those formulated in the Sustainable Development Goals. What is important for your region is the first question. And then, how can science centers support education in this field? And which possibilities exist for professional interactions? The idea came to me during a project I'm doing since 16 years now. Year after year, I go to Colombia in South America, and I'm doing their project called Physics for Street Children. We are working with teacher trainers there. We are working with the street children and visiting this country and the city Medellín, which is very, very famous. Medellín is a center of education, and they have a lot of possibilities to face science education. And one of the combinations they do here, and that is really, really interesting, is they have a problem of water in Colombia and how to save water. You see, this is a picture I did in Medellín. It's more than 4 million people living here, and the Rio Medellín, and the river Medellín looks like that. And the people should be healthy, should be optimistic, motivated to learn science. They have to survive in this field. So the problem is water, importance. Water is indispensable for life. Water needs to be healthy and clean. Water needs to be protected as a treasure. And that is a message the students there have to get. Or what did they do in Medellín? They realized a high-tech exhibition with interactive parts about water. Museo del Agua, the water museum. And this museum is really high-tech and wonderful. I never seen a museum like that in another part of the world. And everywhere I'm in the world, I look for science centers. They put in the focus motivating and surprising questions connected to daily life. And they give the possibility of doing investigations and connections to authentic research with their museum. They work with people around, with the industry, with the researchers. So questions like these are, how much water do we need to produce and use cars and electronic devices? Why? And you can experience that there in the exhibition. The water circuit at Earth, interesting questions around water and nature, what happens if, are questions they can learn about in a very high-level interactive surrounding. I looked at the Facebook site of this water museum, and I found some feedback. And these people are coming from the United States of America, and they wrote down, This is a great place to learn about environment and water management in Medellín. Medellín is proud to have one of the clearest water systems in the world, and this museum shows how it is possible and what can we do to preserve it, as well as all the environments where it can be found. Very educational for the kids and the family. Another one, the Interactive Museo de Agua, Water Museum, is dedicated to teaching people how important water is to the planet. Different sections of the space focus on the different types of climates found in Colombia, complete with heaters, cool air blowers, and birds chirping. The kids section is fun for all, including the bubble-making option. Yes, this museum is worth exploring, as you are bound to learn more about water than you ever knew. Recommend it. So that is, for me, a picture how science centers can serve in the field of science education. Not in competition with schools, but complementary to the work the schools are doing. And the teachers can use the place because they do not have the chance to do it in the school. So we are in the same boat as my ideas. So my last idea, science centers can offer space for science education around themes according to the Sustainable Development Goals and to local conditions. New forms of activities and experiences using digital facilities are possible. You can organize an intensive partnership within a region without competition. And you can target different audience, schools, gifted students of different age groups, families, retirees. So that would give the idea of we are one community responsible for the future and for science education. Thank you very much.